Falmouth, an area of outstanding natural beauty. Should ensuring the well-being of the local environment for future generations be our priority? And do we actually care?
If the marine environment's dirty, there's no fish. And unfortunately, that really messes things up.
To my business, I think it's almost 90% of it is that important. That if the water was dirty, then people would just not enter it.
Personal perspective, if you go to a beach, you don't want to be there with rubbish blowing around, and then obviously from kind of an environmental perspective as well, it's not really good for the environment with bits of plastic in the ocean or for the marine life that are there.
The general public and the communities in Cornwall should massively care about pollution and realise the effect that it has on their day-to-day lives, and the fact that it does have an impact on our environment. We are so lucky to be surrounded by beautiful coast and coastline and amazing enigmatic wildlife. Pollution is still one of the biggest threats facing our marine environment, so people must care both for ourselves and for that wildlife.
Time being limited, I'd go somewhere where it wasn't polluted.
My definition of marine pollution would probably be unnatural materials or substances in the environment, both invisible and visible.
There's all sorts of types of pollution, but yeah, even anything from a carrier bag floating in the sea to an oil spill, yeah, it's a sad thing.
Cornwall, biggest problem is fishing nets.
The most obvious to a lot of people would be the fact that we have millions of visitors each year. Unfortunately, there are still the incidents that these visitors do leave behind litter and pollution on our coastline.
They aren't. This year, Falmouth has been downgraded from a B from low bar upwards to C, and the actual river here in the Carrick Road has been downgraded to B.
They look very clean to me, but you've got to bear in mind that my standards are the River Thames.
Percentage-wise, I would only personally probably give it about 60%. Because we've got a natural working harbour, with all the diesel that the big ships run on, the small boats, everything like that, that naturally pollutes the water.
Falmouth beaches are actually quite clean because they are cleaned regularly by the council. Gilly is clean in peak season, it's cleaned daily.
The Bay area actually is highly contaminated because you've got the county added. And it's all contaminated with arsenic, cadmium, copper, you name it, it's in there. And it's been pumping there for 300 years.
The recent PIB spill around particularly on the south coast of the UK, I think that instance of these birds, over 3,000 birds washing up around our coastline, covered in this substance that had caused them to become immobile and ultimately drown. I think that was a really shocking incident for people to appreciate that pollution is still a serious problem.
We've got several procedures surrounding on waste that's aiming to reduce the amount that we're sending to landfill, to increase the amount we're recycling. Paint spraying is high risk activities. We net it all in to contain all the overspray.
We use UHP, and that's probably the biggest thing.
UHP just uses water as opposed to using grit. When you use grit, you produce hundreds of tons of hazardous material that's got to go to landfill.
National Trust own quite a lot of beaches around here. They do regular beach cleans on their beaches that are advertised on their website, so anyone can just turn up. RSPB do as well.
I would like to see all the sewers all renewed and adequate facilities for treatment.
People can start to think more carefully about what they use in their day-to-day lives, start using more environmentally friendly products. People can think about how they dispose of their waste, because if they don't dispose of it correctly, quite often things end up in the sea.